russosbrand.com, where the pros are the pros. Stevie, I want to ask you this because I'm very, very confused. How do they want us to look at NXT? Do they want us to look at NXT as this is a developmental promotion, or this is a legit promotion? Because if it's developmental, they've got these developmental girls coming in and kicking the shit out of girls on the roster. So I'm not sure how they want us to perceive NXT. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, they want you to perceive NXT as to whatever they feel like they perceive NXT to be at that very moment. In other words, it was not a developmental brand. It's a third brand. Then when they beat AEW, when it went head-to-head with NXT, Hunter in a interview called it our developmental brand. So
right.
It's whatever suits their narrative, whatever is convenient. Right now, it's a viable brand on par with Raw and SmackDown because they're beating up people on Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
If they go back and they do a bunch of jobs and they said, well, you ruined Fraxium or whoever, oh, well, it's just a developmental brand. They're getting exposure. It's just weaving whatever way. And we knew all along that we were going to switch back and forth in the perception of it.
Yeah, it has been because, again, okay, you got these NXT girls coming up, kicking the shit out of Rhea Ripley. So, okay, is NXT on par with the WWE? But then when I see Rosie Perez and Giulia double team Rhea Ripley, bro, and they are on top of her throwing the worst punches I've ever seen in my life. So I'm like, okay, I guess it is developmental then, because those punches look like absolute shit. And I'm watching this whole thing, Ben and Stevie, with in the back of my mind, well, Rock told us it's all a television show anyway. So nothing I'm seeing is real. They're not punching her for real. This is a television show. So, like, at the end of the day, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be feeling about this other than, okay, Rock, you told us all this is a television show. Great. I'm watching this as a television show. And guess what, bro? This is a really bad television show.
Yeah, I would say they're developmentally challenged more than anything. And why Rhea would agree to put these girls over like that. You know what I mean? Like you just came from a spot where you were at the top of the card, and now these girls who are amateur hour at the Apollo are going to come in and get over on you, dude. I just don't understand any of that of why you're going to blow that investment. And these girls, I mean, really, Dakota Kai is not going to stand for this much longer, is what Dakota it comes Kai down.
I'm going to tell you right now, she's part of the next cuts.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They're like, they should be right. And these girls are, I'm not trying to break anybody down too bad, but seem like the B version of Dakota Kai, who was the B version of a star that should have been, you know what I mean? So now we've watered it down. And just because you got some bootleg stripper hair extensions don't mean shit. It might look cool for your little anime character, but then when it's time to actually go and you're terrified that you're now supposed to do a ground and pound on somebody who's been way more over than you, it looks like crap because you're super scared and you're not ready. Even the girls who were in the match, the one girl from American Made, I can never remember her name. Ivy Nile. As awesome as she looks, she's not ready for Raw. You know what I mean? Like, and she can throw shoot punches and really whoop somebody's ass, but there's just a lot of holes in character development, who these people are. She's in the middle of her match looking over at Chad Gable to take direction while it's going on. I'm just like, this is the standard we're at now, how low it is. It really is Disney on ice.
And Stevie, you know what the sad thing is, bro? And you guys will understand this because you've been around for a while. Stevie, anybody, I don't care if you're Joe Henry getting your ass kicked at WrestleMania, anybody, bro, if you get a 6-month run in the WWE, Stevie, let's face it, you and me, businessmen, it's going to be great for your business, great for your brand, regardless of what they do to you in 6 months. Regardless, bro. You had 6 months of having an audience every Monday night. But Stevie, you know that's not the case. And what they're doing, especially with these women, is, bro, they just keep circulating them in and out. I mean, literally, they're like cattle. It's one right after the next, and they cut them. And here's the problem, Stevie. You know, all these young women are not looking at it like, well, great, I was on WWE programming for 6 months. That's really going to help my brand. Now I'm going to take that and build on it. You know, that's not how they're taking it. They're taking it, Stevie, that after that 6 months is over, they are crushed. They are devastated. The dream is over. Where do we go from here? And I swear, Stevie, how they keep turning these girls over, and in the business, that is going to do mental damage to them once they get that pink slip.
Yeah, and also at such a young age, because it used to be you wouldn't even get to the WWE or sniff their radar until you were in your 30s. And then women's a little bit different. Obviously there's a thing that's attached from the promoters and everything when you get to a certain age, which I think they're starting to shed that a little bit and be more fair. They don't age them out as much as they used to, but they sure as hell don't get close to aging them out because they cut them before they're even 25 years old. And that's terrible when you don't know how to hustle. You don't know how to work the indies. You don't know how to sell merch at intermission. And people might be like, well, that's common sense. Not anymore. Yeah. Not anymore in this post-Polaroid picture age of intermissions and merch and trying to hustle this stuff. They don't understand it because a lot, like right now, we are at mostly a point where everybody came from another place and pretty much got taught how to wrestle at the Performance Center. It's that ratio of indie workers to the NIL or any people outside of wrestling is starting to shift and probably purposely, because if you're smartened up or clued into how this stuff works in the least bit, I think they would pass on you. Yeah. Because they can't work you and they can't sell you the dream for 6 months and then say, oh, sorry, you're gone. You moved your whole family. You did all this stuff. And now we got to let you go. By the way, the only punches that were worse, if they were even punches, than these two girls was Naomi on Jade Cargill, where she just went like this. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, I mean, I know you're trying to be crazy, but you didn't even throw a punch at her.
Stevie, I want to ask you this because you are a guy that, not only were a great worker, but you trained people. You trained Shane. Stevie, literally, I'm asking you out of curiosity and a shoot. How can you go through this system and still throw a shitty punch like that? I mean, I don't understand. You're going to work every day. You're learning a skill. You're learning how to be a professional wrestler. This is what you're doing every single day. Your life is dedicated to this. You finally make it up to the show, and you can't throw. I don't even know how that's humanly possible. Stevie, I equate it to like baseball. Bro, if every day you put a bat in my hand and you put me in front of a pitching machine and I'm just going to hit baseballs 8 hours a day for a year, 8 hours a day for a year, I'm going to hit baseballs. Bro, I'm going to come out of that a better hitter. How does that even happen? Like you're training Shane. You're teaching Shane to throw a punch. How can you go through that system and still throw a shitty punch?
Well, let's clear things up. If you look at Shane, I didn't teach him how to throw those punches. Don't put that on me. So he throws him and his father are the worst workers I've ever been around. So as far as athletes and wrestling and hitting people for real, they're two of the best. But I don't know. I was there for a week at the Performance Center, and yes, I have trained people and have actually, at a point too, been criticized because I emphasize and drill the basics. Whether we're going to bump today, you're going to learn how to splash. We're starting off with the regular cardio drills, and we're starting off with lockups. We're starting off with, like, say, 50 lockups. We're starting off with chain wrestling for 30 minutes. If you're not in the ring doing this spot or any of this stuff, everybody's always working, drilling, and wrestling. You don't need to take bumps to learn how to wrestle. Like, if you don't know how to lock up, which I look at a lot of these people, they didn't even get trained and drilled on the lockup enough. And the Performance Center, in theory, it's great. Say Robbie Brookside, when I was there, those are the beginner people that don't even know how to step right to left in the ring. He takes them on. When you graduate from there, you go to a different spot for a little bit more of, I guess, not advanced, but intermediate. And then Terry Taylor and Shawn Michaels, at least when I was there, it was Terry, now it's him and Shawn. That's the finishing part that says, here's the stamp of approval, here's your hat, here's Shawn Michaels, here's the point, and you're ready for the main roster. In theory, it sounds great, but where you either got to blame it not on Robbie Brookside because they're not even throwing punches. You got to blame it on Terry and Shawn. Yeah. You're the guys that are signing off on them going, and they should be able to. Shawn Michaels and Terry Taylor are finishing you before the main roster. Those are two of the best punchers I've ever seen. How do you become that after those guys say you're ready to go?